Hey, happy fall, y'all. Yvette Yeomans LaFleur coming to you from my kitchen in Salem, Virginia. And yes, this is fall, y'all, week because fall starts. What's the weather like where you are? It has cooled down a little bit here, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that. I always love the fall in the Northeast, and I just happen to have a longer fall season down here in Virginia. So we're starting fall week off with a rotisserie chicken and some roasted vegetables. I will tell you honestly, on my menu, I had planned to make autumn fried rice, and the recipe we'll be posting a little bit later, because I thought, oh, that sounds really good. Today is fried rice day, autumn fried rice. Is there a recipe like that? And I went and I looked and I found it, and there is. But then I said, I don't want to make that. So the recipe changed. So it looks like tomorrow might be orzo. If you haven't seen that recipe, tomorrow is Tuesday, and there was an autumn and harvest autumn orzo and harvest pasta were the two choices, and it looks like the orzo has won, but there's still time. There's still time. Tomorrow morning is when I'll take a look, and I will prepare and get all the ingredients that I need that I haven't gotten. Had a problem finding orzo, so it might be orzo or some kind of pasta with roasted vegetables. Okay, what I'd like to do right now is talk to you about our modular pans. And the reason that they are super useful is that they have the two smaller and the one medium-sized pan. Now these pans will sit inside the half sheet pan. So if you are cooking something and you want to be able to put it on one sheet, you can utilize the half sheet pan for this. But here's what I like about these. I don't know if you are somebody that has picky eaters in the house, someone who does not like their food touching, or maybe you like to cook things that cook at different times. These pans are going to help you do all of those things. So, for example, let's say you're making salmon and you have someone in the house that doesn't like salmon, so you're making some chicken to go. So you can start off the chicken and then go ahead and add the pan of salmon, and you're able to cook both things kind of in the same dish, but not in the same dish, which is great for those who don't like overlapping flavors, or if you have differing times like we do today. So I am going to start off with some butternut squash. I have 3 different vegetables that I'm cooking, and they all have a little bit of a different cooking time. So I may need just a little bit more because I want more of a roasted. So I've got some chunked butternut squash here, and what I'm going to add to it is our garlic and herbs. So I'm going to use 3 different seasonings, 1 seasoning on each of the vegetables. So that's another nice feature for these pans, is I can use different seasonings on different vegetables, but seasonings that complement one another. So with the butternut squash, use a good serrated peeler, cut it in equal size pieces, and then just coat it. So instead of putting your vegetable on your pan and then putting your oil on, put your oil in your bowl and coat your vegetables. Okay, so I've got a piece of squash here there we go. Okay, so we've got our squash. Go ahead and get all of my bits of oil out of here. And this is the garlic and herb. And here's our squash. So the squash is going to take a little bit longer to cook than my other vegetables. So let me pop this in the oven first and get that going. So this, again, the garlic and herb. Now if you are somebody now the Brussels sprouts take the next longest. So even though there's like a 5-minute difference, I'll do the Brussels sprouts next. If you're somebody who's been looking to try out our spices, you definitely want to look at our taste buds recipes. I'm just going to actually put this along the edge of the bowl rather than on the Brussels sprouts, because Brussels sprouts have all of those nooks and crannies. And so I want to make sure that it doesn't soak up the oil before I get the oil on all of them. Now we're going to go for the lemon pepper for our Brussels sprouts. So the lemon pepper is just so good on chicken. I've used the rotisserie on our chicken today, but the lemon pepper on chicken is good. You can use it on vegetables, you can use it on fish. I don't know, so many different things you can use it on. So we've got our Brussels sprouts. And as I was saying, if you are somebody who's been looking to try out the taste buds, definitely give it a look, because every month you get 3 recipes and you also get 3 different spices, or I should say 3 recipe cards, and there's probably 15 different recipes that are available to you to use those 3 different spices. Okay, so now we've got our Brussels sprouts, and here's again what's nice using this small, for me, right, is instead of overcooking, I made just enough Brussels sprouts to go in this pan, because I have a tendency to make too much. Walter can tell you that. And then I'll do the same thing with a little bit of oil. And now we do have some oil in this pan, or in this bowl. This is the small batter bowl. I'm just going to put it around the edge here. Put some potatoes in, which these are the little baby, I think they're called number 5, number 1. There's some kind of number. Put those potatoes in here and go ahead and get some of the oil on them. Make sure that they are separated. And then the last one I'll use is the 3 onion, because I love onions and potatoes together. So again, every vegetable has its own spice to it. So that adds a little bit of uniqueness to dinner. And it also helps when I'm using these modular trays. I can easily keep my flavors separated. Okay, so look, this was, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 little potatoes cut in wedges, and look at how nicely they fill up that tray. And there's that errant little Brussels sprout leaf. Okay, so that's it. Here's the other thing I want to tell you about these. These have rolled edges. The nice thing about the rolled edges is the pans are not going to go bing as they heat up in the oven. They're going to hold their shape, and this size goes in your air fryer. I don't know if you can hear the air fryer right now. I think you probably can. I have the air fryer going. I have a rotisserie chicken. It's been going for about 15 minutes. Let me just turn on my light and see how it's doing. Yes, looking so good. Okay, that's the seasoning, the rotisserie seasoning, and I will post a picture of the chicken because I cannot, it just doesn't work, camera and all that stuff. But what I did, your air fryer comes with the rotisserie rod, and it has pokey things, for lack of a better term, that will go right into your chicken or pork tenderloin or pineapple, whatever it is that you want to put on the rotisserie rod, and it holds it in place so that it rotates and cooks evenly. So, so good. All right. So I hope that answers your questions about the modular pan. Even though you didn't know you had questions about the modular pan, now you've got them all answered. So I have the butternut squash in there. That will cook for a little bit. It has to cook for about 5 to 7 minutes. And then I'll go ahead and put in the Brussels sprouts. And then a few minutes later, I'll put in the potatoes. So the nice thing about that the modular pans, I don't know if you've ever done vegetables all together at the same time. Like you put your beets on there, and you put your squash on there, and you put your Brussels sprouts on there, and while you're waiting for one to get done, the other just goes beyond caramelization, kind of into the burnt zone where you don't want it to be. That's what you can use these modular pans for. The other thing is when you are doing some of your harvest vegetables like beets. Beets have a tendency to run if you haven't figured that out, right? So if you have beets on a modular pan and you cook them, and then you cook your Brussels sprouts, and then you cook your yellow squash or your butternut squash, and you cook them separately, then what you're able to do once it's all done is you can mix them, and you're not going to wind up with such a bleeding of color from those beets. So there's a separation of color, so it just looks prettier when you go to serve it. Have a great night, everybody. I'm so excited. Tonight we are doing our quick cooker class. For those who signed up for it, they're going to be making either chicken noodle soup or red lentil soup and learning more about the quick cooker, how to use it, how to get comfortable with it. And if it's a class that you are interested in and you did not get to sign up for it this time, please let me know. I know there were about 3 or 4 of you who said the time didn't work, so I'll set up another one so we can have another class. Take care, everybody.